Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one is going to be for episode 232, which is called Captain Denki's First Mission. So I think it's fair to say, this wasn't one of the greatest episodes of Boruto ever, but I thought it kind of did exactly what it had to. It's a relatively limited in scope episode, but for an episode that was fleshing out this team, Denki, Metal, and Iwabe, on a kind of fun mission that's more related to scientific ninja tools, I thought it did a pretty good job. I thought it was enjoyable sort of start to finish, even if it wasn't hugely impactful. I thought the designs on the kind of automated puppets, obviously the idea of, I kind of like in Naruto the idea that that's where kind of robot technology sort of comes from, is that, oh yeah, it's just puppets, but, that are automatic. That kind of evolution is actually a really fun idea. The fact that the setup for this episode was Denki leading the team on their first sort of significant mission since his promotion also worked, because this specific mission, of course, there was risk. This technology is quite important, and here is the newly promoted Chunin, who is most familiar with technology, so he can actually perform the mission both as sort of the leader of the team, but he can also perform part of the sort of support team aspect as well. So it really got across that Denki is quite versatile, and that the village probably needs more shinobi kind of like him, who have a huge background in technology and can fulfill that dual role. So in terms of getting across, I suppose, the usefulness of Denki, they did a really good job here. Continuing off the kind of important, victory he got in the tuning exam, earning this position, and then continuing that on here. I really liked, one of my favorite moments was that you felt like, oh, are they presenting the weakness of Denki once again as that he's not particularly strong? But then they take a break walking up the mountain with the backpacks, and the guy's kind of like, oh, these kid shinobi don't really seem that great. They have to take a break just hiking up the mountain. I can get up here, no problem. But then he's like, okay, I'll carry the backpack the rest of the way. He can't even lift it up, highlighting just the idea that the amount of training that they've done, Denki has really developed into someone who actually can, has more stamina, is stronger than your average person, and just the guy finally realizing that's the difference between it. That was a kind of fun little reveal to have. If there's any criticism of the episode, it probably would just be that I don't think Metal or Iwabe got too much of a chance to shine, and it was just Denki the episode for the most part. We got to see some Earth style jutsu from Iwabe. Metal used a little bit of taijutsu, but I think Metal is probably the most disappointingly executed character from this batch of younger characters that we have, just because we know where this power should go, 8 inner gates and getting there, but he seems the most behind in terms of his skill set, at least what we've seen so far. So Metal needs some big development in my mind. He's definitely one of the least well done characters we have in the show. And that's both in terms of just his skill set, but also a lot of how they present his character as being so nervous to do anything, and he's skilled, but his nerves mean he can't perform at the skill level he has that often. So it feels like he has very little going for him that's hugely strong, outside of the fact that he's sort of the next in the line of the Might Guy Rock Lee line, but he himself I don't think impresses too much as a character. So that's something I'd like to see grow as we progress. Hopefully, once we get a time skip, maybe post time skip, Metal is more significant, but that's where we are. So yeah, the mission here is to escort these 3 automatic puppets to this island where there is a newly found gold mine, and it's obviously a very sensitive place in terms of the they're kind of tunneling through it. if they tunnel in the wrong place, it could collapse it. They say the whole place is made out of relatively soft earth, so the risk of collapses is quite heavy. So right now it's a very dangerous mission to just use normal miners, so that's why they're getting the technology in to excavate the gold easier. So decent setup there, I think. Getting a little bit more into the sort of business kind of side of things. On the boat over, the old man seems to suggest that everyone is just flocking to this island to try and get a bit of this gold, kind of suggesting almost that if you can get there, you can get some of the gold if you want, but you're risking yourself. They didn't go too much into like the company or make too much of a plot out of this, in that the villains in a way of this episode are literally just two criminals who end up working there, but they didn't get background checks, so they're actually stealing some of the gold that they're mining. And you know, the main thing they get across here is that the main threat of this situation is just that because the mine is such a dangerous location, that they can't go all out in terms of fighting them. So because they kind of take them by surprise, they close the door so they can't immediately get out. They turn off like the ventilation system, so they're going to run out of air eventually, and it creates this kind of rescue situation as well, which is where Denki further gets to shine. He not only is gradually developing his sort of physical abilities and jutsu and so on, he already has the intelligence, the sort of engineering skills, but he's also doing a lot of research going into each of the missions as well, because they get across that he's like tired at the start, and then they reveal at the end that the reason for that is because he was actually investigating the sort of kind of geological map of the mountain. So when they did get stuck in there, he was actually able to quickly figure out that, oh, we can use the puppets to just drill through this stable section and create a kind of new opening out. And so that's what saves everyone. The action that we get, you know, they do reveal that at least one of them is a ninja. They seem to get across that both of them are ninjas. I guess only one of them has a jutsu, water dragon jutsu. So that was kind of cool. Iwabe blocks it. They again use the puppets to their advantage, but again, they didn't really do too much with a lot of the action stuff here. You know, Metal Lee uses Leaf Hurricane, felt very basic. Denki, I'd say probably the one thing that maybe I wish they'd done a bit more with in this episode is in the action actually having Denki get involved physically a little bit and utilize some of the skills that we saw, which is in the end how he actually beat Tsubaki, which was with a jutsu of his own, not using the augmentation of ninja tools. So I would have liked to see some of that come out, just to show that he's further growing in that way. That would have been like the ultimate sort of portrayal of Denki in the episode. Otherwise, they did a really strong job with him. And that really was about it. I suppose going back more towards the start of the episode, I did like the scene of everyone in Thunderburger waiting for Denki to come back with the mission. And Iwabe and Metal are kind of like, we just want a mission that's not the really basic stuff going after like lost pets. And I suppose they're expecting maybe like a C rank mission, which is just like there's some slight risk, but for them it's a massive improvement. So for them to find out that it's a B rank, and they're like, okay, B rank, yeah, I guess that's fine. It's not exactly what we want. Wait, B rank? And they're both like shocked by it, that it's such a jump in sort of quality of mission. But they actually performed relatively well. Like, you did have the moment where like Denki was instructing them on how to do maintenance on the puppets, and they were able to do it with no real problem. But beyond that, it was like the actual plot of the episode was resolved quite quickly. Like, they didn't really go into much depth on what the massive significance is on like, does mining the gold like mean anything beyond just they were hired for this mission and they succeeded. They don't really explain a lot of that. But I suppose that more or less brings the review of the episode to an end. So next week's episode is teased as we're going to see Kawaki get properly promoted to Genin. He's going to get his headband. He's going to be attached to Team 7, which makes sense. And we are going to send him out on a mission that involves Katasuke, who we saw in this episode. So I don't know, is this setting up the arc that the opening seems to be suggesting, where like Himawari ends up getting involved in some way? Um, Maybe it's just a kind of mission prelude to that or something. We'll see how it happens. But it looks like we're returning to more significant content, just because Kawaki always usually is the sort of the sign that something more significant is going to happen. So, yeah, there's everything I wanted to say on this episode. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on this, all right episode. Impressive given what it was trying to do, but not overall super amazing. What were your thoughts on it? But that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.